All right, I'm going to call the 15th meeting of the Civic Works Committee to order. The City of London is committed to making every effort to provide alternate formats and communication supports for council, standing or advisory committee meetings and information upon request. To make a request for any city service, please contact accessibility@london.ca or call 519-661-2489, extension 2425. I'm going to start the meeting by asking if there's any disclosures of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, would anyone like any of the items pulled? Seeing none, could I have a motion? Yep, we'll do it all together. So if I can get a mover and a seconder, we'll put the items on the floor. Moved by Park, seconded by Hubert. And we'll go to Councillor Usher for a question.
My question, Madam Chair, thank you very much, is to do with 2.1. And I don't know if they have an answer to this, but we had a scenario, I believe it was in the 1990s, when we had when we dug up that entire street from Adelaide, probably to Lyle. I wasn't a city council at the time, but it was because of the curve in the street. It wasn't working well. So what I'm trying to say is that this is just about 20 years ago that we did that. Do you have any, through you, Madam Chair, do you have any remembrance of that? And what I'm trying to find out is why is it that we are doing this at this time? I thought that a street of this nature would last more than 20 years. I thought that when we do it, but because I don't see any rehabilitation requirement there except to straighten it out a little. So I wonder if you could ask staff to just address that for me, Madam Chair.
I will certainly ask Mr. McRae if he can let us know why this is due at this time and potential life cycle ramifications.
Yeah, thank you, through the chair. The needs are predominantly driven by the underground sewers and water main. We certainly are aware of the work that went on in the past, and those were predominantly limited to the surface works. So there's aging infrastructure there at the end of its life cycle. I believe the sewer is 100 years old. At the time, I'm sure it was rationalized that it wasn't at the end of its life at that point, but now it is. And with all of our infrastructure renewal projects, we're coordinating the best timing to get in there and try to address all needs at once. And this project is taking that approach.
Councillor Usher for a follow-up.
So I can appreciate that with respect to from Lyle East, because I believe that the construction that was taking place there on Dundas happened twice within a short period of time, within about 2 years, because the first construction that took place, the public really barked against it because it was too many curves. I'm just wondering if we had that, if we didn't go deep enough at that time between Adelaide and Lyle. I'm just asking the question with respect to that portion, because it seemed to me that we did that construction twice over a short period of time, and it was a major construction. And it baffles me why we would not have done some underground work within that short period too. I'm just concerned about spending money in that portion, unless we need to straighten it out a little bit more. You know, Madam Chair, I'm not trying to say to staff they have to have an answer. Maybe what I'm trying to do is to just ask them to make sure that they look at that portion again, so that we don't spend money unnecessarily for the portion that we don't need. I'm just drawing the attention to that. If they have anything else to say, that's fine. If not, I'll accept what they said, so long as they promise that they'll have a good look at that portion.
Okay, so to staff, Councillor Usher is looking for a commitment that not only is this required, but moving forward, that we're going to continue to make wise investments in doing all the infrastructure at the same time, so that we're not in this position again in 20 years.
Through the chair, absolutely, that's what we commit to do on all of our projects. We don't want to resurface or do surface works and then come back 15, 10, 20 years later and have to do the underground. I've just taken a quick look at this, and the infrastructure is 1900s, even within that Lyle section and the intersection there as well. So it looks like that wasn't done at the time, but moving forward, it's always our commitment to try to integrate and do these projects at the same time.
Councillor, are you satisfied with the response?
Yeah, thank you. You know, somebody's going to bring it up in the public. You can bet your bottom dollar. Why are we doing this? Because we just did it 20 years ago, you know. So I'm just trying to ensure that we have answers for those questions when they come up. Thanks very much.
Wonderful, thank you. Any other comments? Deputy Mayor?
Just briefly, I just want to say that I think 2.2, the renaming of 3rd Street north of Oxford Street to Barron's Way Drive is an outstanding idea, recognition of an outstanding Londoner who really demonstrated more than just a commitment to a company, Trudell Medical, but a commitment to the city in so many different ways. So I think that's a really good thing. And I know we've got to go through some hoops to get there, but very positive. Thank you.
Thank you for drawing attention to that report. I was going to do the same. I had a good conversation today with Kapil Lakosha from the LEDC, who is very supportive of this moving forward, and certainly a worthwhile endeavor on our part to recognize business leaders in our community and recognize that Trudell Medical is going to pick up any of the expenses that are associated with the other landowners is important. So if there are no other questions, we'll vote on 1 and 2.
Closing the vote, motion passed 5-0.
Thank you. The outstanding matter is the deferred matters list and any additional business. I don't know if anyone has any comments on deferred matters list. We did make significant progress in moving things along. So I'm happy to pass this on to the next Civic Works Committee to finish up. Councillor Park.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to speak very briefly on number 75, the options for increased recycling in the downtown. On one of the last kicks of the cat in terms of representing my folks down in downtown. I know this is something they've been looking forward for a good long time. Making sure that we're able to recycle is a huge thing. So I look forward to working with the incoming ward councillor on promoting that.
There are no other comments on deferred matters. I will take it that Park is moving it and Usher is seconding it, and we'll put that up on the screen for a vote.
Closing the vote, motion passed 5-0.
Are there any other additional matters? Councillor Squire.
Yeah, since this is the last meeting of this Civic Works Committee and some of us won't be back, I just want to thank you, Madam Chair, for running a very efficient committee the last 4 years. I always appreciate an efficiently run committee, and sometimes you made sure we didn't talk more than was needed, and I think that's a good thing. So as you move on, I want to thank you very much for that. And my fellow members of the committee, it's been a real pleasure serving with you for the last 4 years. Staff, same thing. Some of you are more recent in your positions, but it's been a real pleasure the last 4 years. A very efficient committee, getting a lot of work done. So thanks to all involved.
Thank you, Councillor Squire. Any other additional matters? Okay, then it is my pleasure to adjourn this meeting, 8 minutes, and this is my last City Council meeting. I'm going to move adjournment by Squire, seconded by Hubert, and we'll do it on screen.
Closing the vote, motion passed 5-0.
Have a great day, everyone.
Well done, Madam Chair.
Thank you.